Welcome to my weekly review. Today is Saturday, November 30th, and Monday will begin a new month of trading. We have seen a ton of rotation, and I expect that to continue. We've seen a strong market since the election. And as you can see on this weekly chart of the Nasdaq, we're right in the middle of a trade range, an uptrend, a strong uptrend, and we're right in the middle of the fairway, which is kind of unusual for me. It's like Goldilocks porch, not too hot, not too cold, just sitting above moving averages. And so this trend looks fantastic and up and away. I mean, that's the trend. So until the trend changes, we're going to stay with it. We had a great month in November and look for continuation into December, although, looking for stock rotation. And so some stocks that have done well might have a pullback, and some stocks that haven't done so well might get some love in the month of December. We just got to wait and see. There it is, the NASDAQ on the daily chart. You can see it's above its moving averages. There was up 158 points or 0.83% on Friday, closed at 19,218 on a lighter volume, Black Friday volume, half a session volume. But you can see it's 1.6% above its 21, 3.6% above its 50. So just trending nicely along with its moving average. This is textbook stuff. Let's not rock the boat. Let's just keep this up for another month and let's end the year well. How about that? All right, I'm going to go through some. I guess I'll take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the SPY and the IWM, all the indexes. This is just a tick below 45,000 there, close at 44,910. It was up 189 points on Friday, 0.42% in a lighter volume, the holiday volume there. And you could see 2.5% above the 21. 4.6% above the 50. So looking for it to crash through that 45,000 party here pretty soon. Why not? And then the S&P 500 index, and it ticked above that 6,017. Yippee ki Let's throw a party. It closed at 6,032 on Friday. There you can see making new highs. So higher highs, right? You can see the higher highs and then the higher lows is a definition of an uptrend. So that's what we have here, an uptrend in the S&P, and let's just hope it continues into December, as I say. All right. And then the last one is the Russell 2000 index or the IWM. This one's been really hot lately, well above its moving averages here, above its 10, 0.7% and 3.3% above its 21. So this one is red hot. It was up 8.53% on Friday. Let's get the weekly on this. Yeah, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to the IWM, the Exchange Traded Fund for the Russell. This is at 241 here. You can see higher highs, higher lows. Nice week last week, up 1.3%. So the small caps are getting some love. Heavy influence of small financial stocks in the IWM. I think about 17% of the Russell is small financial stocks. Anyway, I'm going to move on. We had a lot of earnings last week. I'm going to cover some of that. I'm going to cover some of the leading stocks and stocks that I own, stocks that I sold, stocks that I traded recently, and then I'm going to go to one more thing. We have some stocks really, in an uptrending market, you start getting these stocks that are really in heat and have really been showing a lot of heat for whatever reason. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to start earnings last week. We saw earnings from Dell, and it was down 11.5% on the week with, pretty heavy volume. That was not a great report. The PC market is slowing down, or it's been sluggish, I should say. It's been slow for a while. And then they keep talking about this robust AI trade that they're getting, but it's not, it's showing up, that their revenue is good, but not as good as their estimates. So they're over promising and under delivering. And in a stock, you don't really want that. So that got a big haircut last week. You want to under promise and over deliver. So they're doing the opposite at Dell. Crowd reported last week. Yeah, just pulled back to its 21. No great shakes there. Had an inside day on Friday. ARR, it was a little bit lighter and kind of slowing. It was down 7% on the week, but you can see it's had a nice run from 200 up to what 377 before the print. So you got to expect some profit taking there, but nothing wrong with their numbers. Like I said, the recurring revenue is a little light, so a little haircut for CrowdStrike. It did pull back to the 21 and bounce, so it's a well above the 21 here, so 1.5%, and no harm, no foul there. Any stock above the 21 is doing well. All right, Workday. Ugh. Not a good reaction to Workday, and then followed through. So it's down to 250 now. Yeah, that was kind of a rough move. 20% haircut last week. Or it's 20, I should say 20% off of its high. 6.6% haircut last week. And you can see that's pretty rough as it traded below its 50 and then rallied back above, closed Friday 0.5% above the 50. So hopefully find support there, could squat there for a little while before, buyers come in and take it a little higher. I mean, 16% sales, 21% earnings growth, not bad. Just, you got to beat expectations and you got to raise in this market. The expectations are really high. NTNX had a kind of a strange move on, I think it was Thursday, I believe. No, Thursday the market was closed, so dummy. It was Wednesday. They reported Tuesday, and I think, yeah, Wednesday. Here's your move Wednesday. Traded higher at the open, 74, and then just sold off all day. Closed Friday at 65. So that's not what you really want to see. Did pull back to the 50, closed 0.8% above the 50. So NTNX, not bad numbers, but not a good response. And that's all we care about is how the stock responds to the new data points. And that was not good. But all is not lost. We had some good news in Ambarella. The thing about this one was that on what it gapped up on Wednesday, and then the low of the day, it closed at 12% of the daily range, and you could see the low is 71.18, and then on Friday, the low was 71, so it undercut the low of the gap day, which I don't like. I mean, it could rally back up, but it's likely to come back to that 69.55, which is the high of the what was it, Tuesday before earnings. So yeah, probably fill that gap, maybe pull back to that 5 EMA there, but still above the 5, so very healthy. I changed the green line to the 5 instead of the 10 because a lot of stocks are coming back to the 5 and bouncing. I'll get to that in a minute. SMTC, this is another one of these semiconductor fabulous names like Ambarella. Gapped higher on Tuesday, 18% move, and the low of the session was 57.51. It closed at 61% of the daily range, had an inside day on Wednesday, and then on Friday, just kind of, a stall day, but still well above the low of 57.51 of the gap day. So that one looks a lot better than Ambarella. Autodesk, this is a computer software design, kind of like Cadence and Synopsys. Usually, if semiconductors are doing well, these guys are doing well, but not a good response to their earnings report, which is, you can see 21, 13, and 5 earnings are, decelerating, as is the sales. So that's what's going to drive your stock higher. You have to have accelerating earnings and sales, and that's what'll drive your stock, not just because, you like it and the sucker's going higher, as Peter Lynch would say. Okay, I'm going to go to the retail names. We had a lot of retail stocks reporting last week. Abercrombie and Fitch, pretty decent report. 14% sales, 37% earnings, but it's decelerating. So, not a great move here. It is, getting around that, downtrending line. So I'm looking for it to trade above that level, bounce off the 50, but we'll have to, wait and see for it to do that. It's got to prove itself. There you can see it on the weekly. It's got to prove itself. You got to be from Missouri and allow these stocks and the indexes to prove themselves. You don't assume anything. It was only down 1.5% last week, so not bad for Abercrombie and Fitch. Burlington. I love it when they say the weather's too warm for Burlington coats. So, when they blame it on the weather, kind of a rough sell. Anyway, only down 1.5% last week. Burlington, yeah, nice setup here in a base cup with handle and just cannot move higher. You can see the, sales and earnings decelerating a little bit and margins as well. So we'll see what happens with Burlington. Retail, retail sales data has been pretty strong, but the retail group tried to break out. I might as well do that right now since yeah, it's trying to break out here. This is the XRT, which has, Carvana and Victoria's Secret, but you've seen, consolidating for a long period of time, tried to gap up, and now it's just flattening out here. So retail, after a long period of consolidation here, you can see this cup base, flat base. I mean, just base on base for, we're talking a couple of years now, and they just can't move. So anyway, it's an area that I watch and a little disappointed with how it's responded over the last couple of years. Guess, oh boy, you can see clearly in a downtrend. Yikes. Yeah, okay. So not so good there with Guess. KSS is Kohl's. New CEO, same thing, just pretty rough. It's really hit or miss in the retail space. BBY, wow, another one just really getting hammered here. There's very few. Maybe one day I'll show a video of the retail stocks that I like going forward, but this is not it. Rough weeks. This one was only flat on the week, but you can see the downtrend on this stock here. Best Buy, maybe they'll have a good Christmas, right? But anyway, below the 50, just rough for me. In a market like this, the market's so strong, your stock should be above, they're moving averages, the 5 and the 10 and the 21 for sure. Anything below the 21, it's adios muchachos. And this one is 4.2% below it's 50. So anyway, a lot of tough numbers in the retail game. Smuckers, they make the jams, coffee, peanut butter, beverages. Once again, just a clear downtrend. It was up nearly 4% last week, though, following earnings. But yeah, just a clear downtrend. That's a rough looking chart there. All right, a couple random names. This is a crypto related stock, Australian based miner. And this one had a nice response to its earnings. It was up 25% last week. It had been in, basing this consolidation. Pattern rec isn't picking this up, but I would have to say this is a, cup with handle pattern here. There's your cup. And then the nice, bull wedge pattern back to the 50 and then pop on earnings. That one looks good. Up on volume on Wednesday and then followed through on Friday with a nice move. Yeah, it was up 29% following earnings and then followed it up on Friday with a 9% move. So when you see stocks up on volume like that, pay attention. That thing could definitely take out the 1575. All right, who else had earnings last week? Oh, ADI. This is Analog Devices. Not a good response. Zoom reported, I believe, on Monday. He had a nice move higher and then just gave some back. But overall for the week, I think it's down 3.7%. All right. Anyway, Zoom has just been a real tough go. It was a nice COVID play. Hasn't done much since. This is a Bluebird electric transportation, the school buses. Yeah, I think the EV space and the electric vehicle and the plug powers and the energy generation that has been on a downtrend, and it's been a tough market. In any way, this is Bluebird, and it's kind of showing you that nice clear downtrend. The last one, WWD, is Woodward. This is aerospace defense, and that this market has been super hot. You can see it gapped higher on Tuesday. The low of the session was 186, and it closed at 3% of the daily range. So what happened on Wednesday? It comes and fills that gap there from 180.79, which is the high on the 25th. There was the low, 186.81, and then closed that gap with a low of 178 on Wednesday. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then just pull back to its 5 and kind of squatted at its 5 on Friday. Nothing burger day on Friday, but still one to watch. That's in a nice consolidation pattern. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, 2.5% last week. Yeah, nice consolidation. It might want to bust out of there. The aerospace and defense names have been super hot. I'm going to get to them in a minute, but I want to go through some leading stocks I own, stocks I like, stocks I've traded recently, stocks I might want to own. And this is AppLovin. You can see the earnings line heading due north, the RS line due north. This is one of your stronger stocks in the market. You can see these big blue volume bars. I'm sorry, people are saying, you got to sell it. It's up too much and blah, blah, blah. So I did. I trimmed some. It's now, it went from about 14% holding to about a 5%, which is okay. I'd like to be a little bigger, but, people say that, if a stock goes 100% above the 200, that's a sell sign. Well, on this date, it gapped higher, 46% on November 7th. And you can see it's 179% above its 200. So should I sell it? Sure, you could sell it. Nice trade. Anytime you make 40% on a trade or 46%, if you're holding it into earnings, great. But you sold it at what, 250, and now it's trading at 336. So you just pissed away, a nice $80 trade. I don't think that's a good sell sign in this type of a market. The market condition is everything. And then this is a super strong stock and a really strong market. Now, if this were a sideways market or a bear market, downtrending market, yeah, gap like that's probably not going to hold. And you could sell it, but you can see this thing's just riding its five. Every time it pulls back to the five, it finds support. It did form this little shelf pattern here and allowed the five to catch up. And then what did it do? It just ramped higher, made a new high. Then it pulled back to the five. What did it do? Ramped higher, made a new high. Pull back to the five. I don't think it made a new high on Friday. I think the high there is this date, 344.77 on the 25th. Yeah, 343.75. So still, which way is this thing trending? I see no sell signs, but like a dummy, I did trim some because I didn't want to hold a bunch into that data report. So, and I didn't buy it back. So 5%, that's fine. I'm happy with that. And people, you have to know your own self. On your journey of trading, it's about you. Each individual, we're like our fingerprints, everybody's different. So me, at my age, I just want to beat the S&P every year. So I'm not looking to make 100% every day or every week or every month. I just want to beat the S&P. So if I get the meat of a trade, I'm happy. Some people, if they sell and it keeps going higher, it drives them crazy. So so they buy it back. That's fine. What drives me crazy is allowing a gap like that to pull back and I lose money on it. I can't stand drawdowns or losing money. That's just me. That's the way I'm wired. You have to figure out what's best for you. And I get that question a lot, should I sell it? And if you're blindly following people into trades, that you got to develop your own strategy, and this business, it's like earning a PhD. You get your 4-year degree, you get your master's, you go to school, get your PhD. I mean, that takes 7, 8 years, and that's what it takes in this business to learn properly. This is a VST. We had this stock on this downtrend line. Sorry for the the rant there. But anyway, we had this one and it ran up, from like 80 to 140. I'm sorry. That's the meat of the trade for me. So I took some off the table. I was up in full position and I took some off. All it did though was pull back to its 21, rallied higher. Then it pulled back to its 50 for the first time since the breakout from the base. Usually the pullback to the 50s, going to be a gift, going to be support. And that's what happened here. And then it bounced higher, made a new high. But now, if you're looking to get in, you're thinking that's a nice little wedge pattern right there as it pulls back to its five. So I would put this back on my ready list just as an add-on buy if you already own it or if you don't own it and want to own it. This is a top performing stock in the S&P 500 this year. So the fund manager is going to want to own this thing going into year end. I think it's going to trade higher. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Nice flag pattern there for VST. A VRT, another one that I like. It just pulled back last week. I thought it was going to get support at the 5 right here when it pulled back. What was that, Monday or Tuesday? And it didn't. It just blew right through there. I thought it'd get support at the 10 and it didn't. And it pulled back to the 21 on Wednesday, bounced a little bit, but rejected at the 5 there. So it's got to drive through the 5, or maybe to just squat it to 21, but I don't want to see it fall through the 21 because that would be adios muchachos. In this market, stocks, your stock should be above the 21. Otherwise they're laggards. All right, Walmart. You think, man, Walmart's a leading stock? Yes, Walmart is kicking butt. I'm sorry. You don't think of Walmart as being like a leading stock, but 14% earnings growth. These guys are taking market share from Target, making new highs. This is a Dow Jones component and definitely helping the that index for sure. So Walmart, it's doing nothing wrong. It's a Kelly Slater stock surfing its 5. Congratulations, Walmart longs, also paying you a decent dividend just to hold the darn thing. CLBT, one that I don't talk about much, but a stock that I like, making new highs here at 21, pulling back to the 50, a little undercut, rallied back up. I look for it to take out that 21 sometime soon. What other ones do we have? Oh, GEV, this one that I sold, not for any particular reason. I mean, like I say, if I get the meat of the trade, I'm happy. I don't like pullbacks. This one's doing nothing wrong, though. I see no sell signs, but I sold it anyway. In fact, if you were, it looks a lot like VST with this little flag pattern here. Maybe it'll pull back to the 21 and bounce, but yeah, like I say, doing nothing wrong. Weekly review is down 4 something% last week, but like I say, I just like the meat of the trade. It goes higher without me. I'm fine with that. That's just the way I'm wired. And like I said, I'm just trying to beat the S&P, and I'm not trying to make millions here. Uh, I'm never fully invested, which makes it harder to beat the indexes. This is Kava reported earnings and ran up to 172, and people are saying, "Oh, you got to sell it. You got to sell it." I don't think that's a sell sign. It broke its upper channel line. Blah blah blah. It's just squatting on its 21. It looks fine. But some of these restaurant names have been falling apart, and there's been some selling in that group. And once again, just hit and miss in that retail restaurant space. Cava has been a huge winner, and if we look at the weekly, because this is a weekly review, you can see this uh, clear as day. The IPO base and the breakout, the rip higher, the pullback. Another rip. Just this thing's been a ripper from last June to, what is it, like 18 months of trading. That's a hell of a track record right there. So I don't think it's done, but I don't hold it as of now. Anyway, GoDaddy, this is one that I really like. Broke out of this, cup with handle pattern, got a good price on it, so I'm just holding it, surfing its moving averages, but having trouble at that 200 level. So that's acting as resistance for this stock. But still, nice name here. Yeah, up last week 0.62%. So just with the week after week, this thing is just grinding higher, kind of like App 11, but not with such intensity. All right, CRS, Carpenter Technology, a stock nobody talks about in this steel specialty alloys group, one of the top performing groups this year, and this one made a new high last week at 198. So 200 will probably provide some resistance for this. You can see the earnings line heading north and the stock heading north. Wow. Strange correlation there, isn't it? All right. Okay, let's see. Oh, Power and Sterling. These are two in the building heavy construction area that I like, making new highs. Once again, the earnings line grinding higher, the stock grinding higher. STRL, this is another one that I like in the same group. Pull back a little bit last week, no big deal, but I think 200 will probably provide resistance for that one as well. It had a little peekaboo above it, and then came back to its moving average on the daily, so that looks fine. A couple others. Oh, MicroStrategy. I've had two fantastic trades this year. SMCI in February and MicroStrategy last month. And if we just go to the month, it was up 58% last month. That's a hell of a month. You can see the consolidation in the months prior. This is a monthly chart. The weekly, yeah, it was down 8% last week. So you think, oh man, this stock sucks. It's up 23% the week before, and then 26% the week before, and 17 the week before that. And if I just go here in the last year, it's only up 678%. So huge, massive winner. Thank you very much, MicroStrategy. Now you're thinking, well, where does it go from here? It's been such a big winner. Can I buy it now? Can I participate? Well, it pulled back to its 21 last week and found support and bounced. It's closely tethered to the price of Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin's going higher. This one's likely to go higher, but definitely a strong stock and a big winner. All right, DoorDash. This is one that I love, and I've owned it for a while. This has got 1.83% move last week. It's just poked above 180. But you can see on the weekly here, the cup with handle, and it's just been running higher and higher and higher. Had one week where it was down 1%, but it's just been grinding higher since it broke out. 6% on the week of September 13th. So that's a long run from September to December. So maybe there'll be some profit taking there coming up, but strong stock, DoorDash. All right. Any more leaders we got? Oh, Fix, the air conditioning cooling group. Yeah, this one just keeps grinding higher, up 0.5% last week. You see the breakout from the consolidation earnings line going higher, stocks going higher. Strange correlation there. Nvidia, everybody looking for Nvidia to break out. Long period of consolidation. The last 3 weeks, it's pulled back to form like a handle, down 2.6% last week. I think eventually this one will break out. You can see it's a late stage base, and it's had a lot of bases here. And this is a four, but it could go on and on and on. So I wouldn't count this one out just because it's a later stage base. All right, Netflix, another strong stock, the king of streaming. You can see it had a couple of 3 weeks tight pattern, made a new high the prior week of 908, pulled back a little bit last week, but Netflix, super strong stock. Tesla, this is another one that I sold. I sold GEV, Nvidia, Tesla, one other one that I forget. Oh, MicroStrategy. Yeah. And let me see. Yeah, Tesla, a lot of good news priced in here. It's just a little too political for me right now. And I think, China, it's got a heavy reliance on China. China's got a weak economy. Yeah, he's going to have some, political wins here, but a lot of good stuff priced in. So I just don't like my stocks to be, so politically involved. So that's why I got out of that one. Nothing wrong with it. If you own it, looks fine. That's just me. So I think the market is trending towards the newer merchandise, like I just showed you with, stuff like GoDaddy, and that's not really new, but oh gosh, what did I show you here? App Lovin', is one, DoorDash, and some other ones that I'm going to show you, like Bros. I think the market is trending to stuff like Bros and A Lab and some of the newer names. Bros right here, I believe this is your institutional due diligence phase here for a long time, and I think it just broke out of that. And of course it had the bear market like everyone else, and then in 23 went sideways, and now it's just starting to break out of that box, if you will. You can see the earnings line heading north. I think that's going to continue. They're taking market share from other coffee houses. Not going to mention their names, but yeah, strong sales and earnings growth. I think that will continue quarter after quarter. Let me see, what else do I have? Oh, SoFi. This one's been on a heater since breaking out of that 850 area. Just, it's been a two bagger. I wouldn't call that a high type flag. Not yet, anyway. It did break out there from that $10 area. Nice, stage one base, ripping higher every week. What's it up? About 8 or 9 or 10 weeks in a row. But you can see the big blue volume bar. So that's not Aunt Sally buying this stock. And yeah, earnings line heading higher and the stock heading higher. So I like SoFi. And these new, I mentioned A Lab. Yeah, I think the market would rather, well, if you just look at it, Nvidia's got a $3.5 trillion market cap. For it to double, it's got to go to 7 trillion. For, Astera Labs to double, it's got a 16 billion, got to go to 32. So I look at the ownership here, and it's got Lord on its side. It's got Danoff at Fidelity. It's got a lot of these strong performing mutual fund holders, and I just think it's going higher. That's my opinion. That's why I own it. You could see this IPO base, I think it's beyond its due diligence, stage where these institutions have done their homework, and now it's in its advanced phase. They're starting to buy it. How do I know? It's just a wild guess. But these blue volume bars tell me the institutions are buying this stock. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. A couple other ones, TGTX. This is, got the multiple sclerosis drug. This one looks fine above its 5 EMA. They're going to have I don't know, they're at a conference on Tuesday where the CEO is going to speak. He's probably not going to say much, but they are taking market share. They're getting a lot of new clients and getting some conversions as well. I think just over time, this one's just going to continue to take market share. Heavy short interest in it, but I think the institutions, are responsible for this move here with those big blue volume bars. You can see the breakout on the weekly and now making new 52-week highs. So I like that one as well. And the last one is Datadog. A lot of people like Datadog. Whenever I post on Twitter about Datadog, I get a lot of responses. That tells me that people like the dog. Anyway, nice breakout here from this stage 1B or stage 2 base. Here's your bear market cup with handle and a breakout, and then another like base here, consolidation. Made had a big week and made a new high the prior week and gave some back. So when you go up 22%, you can give back one. Okay, we'll take that. So Datadog looks good as well. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Except for in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing, and that is I mentioned the defense names are just, rocket stocks. These things are heaters soaring into space. Rocket Lab is certainly one of them. And, I'm not, manufactures rockets, spacecraft. I'm not making any assumptions. I'm just showing you this stock is hot. It's been going higher. I don't know why. I'm just observing, okay? Just observing the market, observing the strength. This one, I mean, talk about blue volume bars. This one's heading higher. Look at the volume up 36% last week on a holiday shortened week. 17% move, following up on moves from the prior week of 22 and 40. So this one is a rocket, and it's not the only one. If you'll indulge me here with some, lower price names, this is Joby Aviation, Aerospace. It's got heavy short interest in it, and it's fueling a little rally here. You can see this breakout of this. When this calls it a stage 2 base because this is stage 1, but I would say I don't know. It's just breaking out of a base. How about that? Anyway, super strong stock. If I go to the daily, man, you can see the breakout there. Really nice move on that holiday shortened week and getting some heavy volume. LU and R, another one of these, lower price names. You can see the breakout here in the daily and just surfing that 5, that green line. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see the earnings line heading south, but the breakout and just a big move, 8% just last week. So, these aviation, I don't really know what's going on. This is I think it's a drone stock, RCAT software name. You could see this is computer software, but in the drone industry. So yeah, up 31% last week. You see these big blue volume bars. Oh, man. So something's going on here with these names. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making any assumptions like we're buying drones. Anyway, this is Tech, another one of these I believe it's a drone name, software drone. You can see it's just a recent IPO, sold off and just blasted higher last week with, yeah, nice 394% move. So that's what you're looking for. If you want to you want to get rich in a week, buy stuff like that. Anyway, ACHR is another aerospace defense name and just broke out of a base 2 weeks ago with a 47% move and followed it up last week with a 58% move. So, low price stock, San Jose, California, just kicking butt. So some other names I'm just going to mention here on my heat list. This is Dave. Dave's not home. I got the stuff. Who? Dave's not here. Dave is just making new highs. And, this is really a base here, breaking out of a base 2 weeks ago. And then having an inside day, looks like a short stroke pattern, excuse me, an inside week, and then making new highs last week up 14%. 103.72 is the high. Let's look at that on the daily. Yeah, that was Friday where it just poked above 100 and pulled back. Just watch that 5 there because it'll keep surfing that 5. It's going to be over 100 real soon. That 100 will be resistance only for a bit. I think this thing has enough power. Yeah, look at those big blue volume bars. It's got the power to blast through that level. And the last one, IONQ, this one I had on my ready list last week. Got lucky. It was up 15%. Nice move higher. So if you bought that one, congrats. But you could see these big blue volume bars. This is kind of a mystery to me because, the earnings are going south. And if you look at their, the revenue numbers, they're doing 12 million, 11 million, 7 million, and it's got a market cap of like, almost 8 billion. So, yeah, really expensive stock, but somebody believes in this one. It had this little pullback here. prior to earnings, then it just been ripper ever since. And like I said, if you just follow that five, that green line, every time it comes back, a very clear pattern there as it pulls back, rips higher, pulls back, rips higher, pulls back. And that's why I put on the ready list, because it pulled back and then it ripped higher the last couple of sessions. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Monday is December 2, the first day of a new month. So let's see if we get some rotation and we get some love in some other areas. And that's what I'm looking for next week. And or maybe the same stocks will continue higher and we get some other stocks rotating in that are getting some love as well. At mcstockcharts.com, we never give up.